What's most impressed you about the way they've assembled talent and the way that talent is becoming cohesive on the floor?
Steph doing the heavy lifting. It looked like it was going to be, Brian. The Warriors, they've used a deep rotation to their advantage, right? Ranking 5th in offense, 4th in defense. Golden State is the only team to rank top 5 in both categories this season, and that has led them to an 11-3 start, the best record in the Western Conference. It's the 7th time they've started 11-3 or better in franchise history, all under Steve Kerr. And the previous 6 instances, you know this, Bob? They made the NBA Finals in every single one of them. So does this look like a finals team? You had an up-close and personal view for all of those years.
Well, the numbers don't lie, Malik. I mean, and you still got Steph Curry, who I think is the best face of a franchise in the history of sports. Think about, let that sink in for a minute. Who's a better face of a franchise ever on any sport? Pick a sport.
Michael Jordan was pretty good.
He was pretty good, but he's up there, right? He's up there. Curry's up there. He changed the game. That's the only guy you can say. But Perk, you were a little tough on the Warriors in 22.
I was.
So now you're back on board. Okay, so now I'm not there.
Yeah.
How about if they win it, I keep. How about I get to keep this little piece of jewelry?
I got something better than that.
How about I get to keep this?
I think that's a good bet.
That's a good bet, right?
I got
Warriors
something.
win it?
I got something better than that.
You got it for all of us.
If the Golden State Warriors go on to win a championship, another championship, Steph Curry will officially enter the GOAT conversation with LeBron James and Michael Jordan. When you talk about the greatest shooter of all time, when you talk about a generational talent, a guy who has changed the game forever, when you talk about a guy who's already a top 10 great of all time, that is Steph Curry, right? You talk about his skill set, he's top 10 all time in that category as well. So when I think about what he has around him, I think about Kevin Durant leaving, Klay Thompson leaving. Now all of a sudden you go out and you take this group that you have right now and go complete the mission and win another championship? Yes, absolutely.
It's nice to see
he enters the GOAT conversation with Jordan and Bron.
I feel like you've been hard on Curry.
I have.
It's nice to see you come around.
I don't mind giving out flowers.
I
It's
think
Thanksgiving.
what would be the reason that would be so impressive, I don't know about the GOAT or whatever, but he would have built the team 3 different times. The team was built up, won the
I'd
championship.
say 4 if he does this.
Because you're
4 different teams.
Definitely 3 totally basically redone.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, that's what LeBron has. That's one of LeBron's biggest feathers is he took 3 different teams, was finals MVP. I know it's the same uniform, but it'll be 3 different teams.
I know, but Wendy, you said you don't care about the GOAT stuff, but what you just said sounds like GOAT-type things.
That's
going to be hard for Wendy to say. Just like it's hard for you to say, but I'm happy that you're doing it. You're finally coming around on the Warriors and Curry. I know Wendy can't do it. He can't do it. We can't ask him to do it.
No, you're talking top 3 there.
It's too much for him.
The bar is very high.
I do know this, though. With the win tonight, Golden State will become the first team to advance out of the group stage play. If they win and the Denver Nuggets, there's a combination.
I tell you
See
what,
them in
I tell
Vegas.
you what,
I want to see them
I'm
in
a
Vegas.
believer in this Golden State team.
You guys look great. Let's see if Richard Jefferson and Ryan Ruocco have matching chains. Let's get it out.
In the game tonight?
Well, first of all, I look at this team and say, I didn't think they could ever get back to their roots as a top 5 defensive team in the league. And that's really where they were annually when they were winning championships and contending. I didn't think they'd get back there. They play really small lineups. They have made some nice additions, but for the most part, it's a lot of the same core we've seen over the last few years. So you don't typically see teams be able to crank it up to that level again. And the reason, Scott, they've been able to do it is because Steve Kerr is playing so many people. I look at this team defensively, and I just was out there and saw them against Memphis, and they're swarming, and they're fast, and they're switchable, and they have great communication, and they're fresh. I mean, this team is in first place in the Western Conference. No one is playing more than 29 minutes a game, including Steph Curry. And by the way, Steph Curry's numbers, by his standards, are pretty pedestrian so far this year. He's had some moments, but they haven't even needed Steph Curry to go for 32 a night to keep their head above water. This has a different feel to it. So it's been refreshing to watch, and it surprised me, I think, that they've been this good defensively. And I think the rotation he's using took some flack for it at first. I think I was skeptical as well. It's working for them, particularly defensively. And then Buddy Hield has given them a great infusion of offense, which is exactly what they needed to replace what Klay Thompson was at his peak.
NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins is with us on SportsCenter. Perk, not only have the Warriors been dominant in Group C play, they stand atop the Western Conference. It's a stark contrast from this time last year. So what's fueling their strong start this year?
It's that light-skinned brother with the green eyes, and it seems like he's on a revenge tour right now, right? And I saw this look in his eyes during the preseason, and I said, Steph Curry is locked in. Steph Curry feels some type of way, in my opinion, with Klay Thompson leaving him. We saw the passion that he played with when they beat Dallas a few weeks ago. But when you think about the way that this Warriors team is playing, Steve Kerr, adding a new recipe to the game, going with a 13-man rotation. They're defending the perimeter at an extremely high level. Number one in guarding the three-point line. Draymond Green is looking like a guy who is saying, you know what, I think y'all forgot about me when it comes down to Defensive Player of the Year type guys, and I'm going to put my name back in the conversation. So I know, yes, they're playing to secure and lock up the NBA Cup.
So as you saw, the Golden State Warriors are definitely not just in a great spot to win another NBA championship, but it could definitely solidify Steph Curry as not just being a top 5 player, but I do believe even seeing him as a top 3 player if he is able to win a 5th NBA championship and also get that finals MVP. Now when it comes to Steph Curry so far this season, he has definitely been playing great. He actually has been putting up less stats, but they have definitely been winning a lot more. Now when we look at that, right now this season he is averaging 23 points, 6.5 assists, 5.2 rebounds, which is fantastic to see, while also shooting an effective field goal percentage of 62%, and more importantly, from the 3-point line, he is shooting 45% from the 3-point line while also taking 9.3 attempts per game. So this is honestly the Steph Curry that we miss, not just due to the fact that he has been playing better, but with a bigger and better team around him that is able to score at will. It has actually freed up a lot of Steph Curry's, offensive load and definitely moved it on to other players like Buddy Hield, like Jonathan Kuminga, and they've been able to perform very, very well. When we look at last season, Steph Curry was putting up a lot more points. He was actually averaging 26 points per game, but he was also taking 2 extra 3-point attempts and also taking 3 extra 2-point attempts as well. So when it comes to, Steph Curry, not only is he shooting less, but on top of that, he's still shooting more efficiently, which is what we want to see. When it comes to this, yes, he may not be putting an MVP type number where we're looking at 30 points, maybe 8 assists, 8 rebounds, something of that nature, but his team currently sits, as of making this video, number 1 in the Western Conference with a record of 12-3. And this is against a tough Western Conference. This is above teams like Oklahoma City Thunder, Los Angeles Lakers, Denver Nuggets, Phoenix Suns. So the list really does go on, and Warriors have been on an absolute tear when it comes to what they have been able to achieve. Now, so far this season, I definitely do see them putting up numbers that not only just surprise a lot of people, but it's definitely numbers that you can see as an NBA championship team. In the past, we have seen that the teams that do win an NBA championship do rank roughly in the top 10 when it comes to offensive and defensive rating. And so far this season, this Golden State Warriors team do actually rank 6th in offensive rating and 4th in defensive rating. Now, the biggest takeaway, however, and probably the biggest thing I like about Golden State Warriors right now is that although they rank in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating, they also rank in the top 5 at the 5th place when it comes to pace. So they're not just a fast-paced team, they're also a great defensive team and a great offensive team. And with all those mixed together, it honestly makes a recipe for success. We definitely have seen a lot of the teams that have come and go and win NBA championships do very well on both ends of the floor. And finally, this Golden State Warriors team has been able to show that. With Buddy Hield being able to step up, other players like Brandon Podziemski, Andrew Wiggins, and Jonathan Kuminga. And you also see even players like Draymond Green providing a lot more just on the offensive side that really does help give that extra little push to win games in the late. Now, they did suffer or have actually received news about a suffering injury from DeAnthony Melton. It is a little bit sad to see because he is out for the rest of the season. I think De'Anthony Melton put up some great numbers, averaging actually a great 10.3 points, 2.8 assists, and 3.3 rebounds. But when it comes to overall, I think De'Anthony Melton will be able to still provide for this team by giving, that extra experience that he does know, helping the younger guys, especially Podziemski, Trace Jackson-Davis, and others to really, provide for this team when it comes to knowledge and being out there with his experience and pass that on to these younger guys. So when it comes to this team, the Golden State Warriors, although they did lose someone, I definitely see this roster still going all the way and winning an NBA championship. I do believe the defense is there, the offense is there, which is great to see, but I think what's most important is that the efficiency that they're shooting at is honestly that can't be matched. As we all know, the NBA has now turned into a three-point shootout. We all know teams are shooting more and more threes. Even Boston Celtics have actually were the last team last season to shoot the most threes in any season, and even this season they've been able to increase that even more.